Right, hello and welcome to this new series on the Synthstrom Deluge, this lovely looking thing here. If you want to know a little bit more about the general features and everything of it, then check out the review I've done. It's going to be in this same playlist of videos, and I'll try and link to it in the description as well. I'm going to try and keep all these videos as short as possible. There's going to be quite a lot of them, so I want to kind of do short short snappy tutorials. Let's move that across a little bit rather than one massive long one, because I just find it makes it easier for people to kind of look at each bit. So this one we're going to look at the construct of the track view and some basic sequencing stuff. So if we just power it on, and when we first power it on, it takes us automatically into the track view, which is the section that we're looking at now. So we're looking at track view and basic sequencing, and it just loads in the first preset number 1. So we've got a 16:8 grid over here, which is basically like a piano roll sequencer that you would get in Ableton Live or Cubase or Pro Tools or anything like that. So time, as you will be used to if you've ever used any kind of DAW, time goes from left to right. So when we press play, you'll see that line goes across there, showing us where we are in the time, and then up and down is pitch. So down this side we have what are called audition buttons, so we can decide which notes that we want. And let's say we're just going to put some C1 notes in. I was going to randomly put some rubbish bass line in, press play. Okay, and then obviously we can everything. Okay, I don't like that note, but I don't want to get rid of it for now. We can mute it with this button here. Okay, so we've got a mute button there. Obviously, we're not just confined to these notes. This dial here will scroll us up and down. So as we go down, you can see we can go down an octave. You can go ridiculously low. You can go to -1 right up to, what's the highest note? 10. So you've got a range of 11 octaves, and I can't hear that. That might be my bad hearing. I can just hear that one. Okay, all the dogs in the area are going crazy now because I'm playing that so damn loud, so damn high. But anyway, so you've got a massive range of notes that you can input and so on. So that's obviously, I think, fairly straightforward. You just light up your notes depending on how you want them. So in terms of editing notes, obviously you just press it again to turn it off if you don't want it. We've also got an undo button. So if this button up here that says back, if we press that, it will just kind of keep stepping back. So we've got an undo, and I think, if I remember rightly, if you press shift, let's try that out. I think I'm right. Shift and back, it will redo. Okay, so you've got an undo and redo, which is very, very useful. Again, thing you would sort of expect on any bit of software. Obviously we can have different length notes. We're not just confined to like 16th notes. So let's say I want a long note here. All you do is hold the first one, and then if we want that to last, I don't know, like say 2 beats, that will be the length of that note. So the brighter coloured pad there is like the main note when it starts, and then this is kind of like the tail of the note. Okay, so obviously we can have different lengths of notes as well. We can change the colours of the notes because they just kind of go in randomly. If you hold down shift and turn this dial, you can change the colours of the notes depending on your preference, and there's quite a few different colours to go through. And we can also adjust the brightness of the LEDs as well. For that, it's shift, learn, and this button, and you can see we can dim them or make them brighter, because if you're in a very dark setting you might not want it too bright, you might want to dim them. So useful little feature there. There are loads of presets. I'm just going to go over into keyboard mode. I'm going to cover this in a separate video, but just so I can play the pads here as the keyboard. So yeah, we've got synth presets which we choose with this dial here, our kind of like select dial. So okay, there's 168 presets, and you can add your own. So you can add as many as you want. It's just the limit really is down to what you can fit on your memory card. And obviously you could stick another memory card in or get a higher amount of memory on there as well. But yeah, I'll look at obviously making our own presets and saving those in a later video. So in terms of we've got synth tracks, which are generally going to be synth synthesized sounds that we're going to use creating the internal oscillators. So we can also have kit tracks, so get rid of those notes. So if we press the kit button, it takes us over to the kit. So generally these are going to be drum pad sounds, or not sorry, drum pad sounds, just drum sounds, or samples. We can have longer loops and samples, and these can also be time stretched. Again, I will cover that in a different video. So it comes with, if I remember rightly, it's something like 42 presets. I've put a few of my own on synths. Yeah, that's fine. So there's 42. Yeah, so it starts off with the first one is a basic 808 kit. So we've got all the basic 808 sounds. I think number 3 is a 909 kit, and then there's just kind of like emulations of other and samples of classic kind of drum machines. So sequencing a drum pattern, dead simple. Again, piano roll style sequencing. So if we just put kicks in there, we'll put snares in there. Let's put some 8th notes on the hi-hat. Play that sequence. Okay, and then you can just scroll through your different presets and choose the drum sound that you want. Okay, and it's also, I mean, even down to the fact that if you've got an open hi-hat playing, you can set these two so that when that one plays, it chokes that, because obviously in real life, as a real drummer, you wouldn't have your open hi-hat playing at the same time as your closed hi-hat. It's physically impossible to do. So great, that's a very, very great good little feature on the kit track. You can make your own custom kits as well. So if you want an 808 kick and a 909 snare and your sampled hi-hat as your hi-hat part, then not a problem. You can do that as well, and you can save your kits as well. What else do we need to cover on this one? Again, we've got different colours. We can change the colours of the track. It's entirely up to you how you want to work with the colours. So if we hold the audition button down, this one down here, and hold shift and then this dial, we can change that colour. So you might want like all your hi-hats the same colour. You know, you might want your kick, I don't know, whatever, a nice red colour or whatever. So it's entirely up to you as well which way you do it. Right, so we can also reorder how our track is kind of laid out. At the moment we've got the kick drum along the bottom. Let's say I want the kick up at the top. All we do is we hold down the audition button, we press down on this dial, because we can press down as well as turn, and then as you turn, it will move. It will kind of hold it in place. You can see we've now got the kick up at the top. Again, very useful little feature if you want to reorganize your tracks. If you're used to it being, you know, some people might always have the kick at the bottom, or some might always have it at the top. So that's again a useful little feature. When we're on a synth setting, if let's say we use these parameter buttons, I'm going to go into parameter buttons in the next video a little bit in a lot more detail. But let's say, let's turn that off. If I want to turn down, so let's say this is a synth, right? And I want to turn it down, I would use this dial here. So that's kind of like it, you know, when we're sort of at the mixing stage and so on. By default, that on a synth track, this button here which says effect entire is always lit on. You can't take that off, because with a synth you wouldn't turn down individual sounds. Although where you might, you can do individual velocities, again, which I'll get onto in a later video, but generally a synth's going to, you know, turn the whole thing down. If we go back into kit mode, we can affect the volume of individual tracks, obviously, because we might want to balance up our, you know, the kick drum might need to be a bit louder, or the snare drum, or so on. We can do the same thing. We can affect the entire track by lighting this button up. So if we turn that down now, you can hear that's getting quieter. So if that is off, and then we hold down the audition pad, I'm just going to play it. So let's say we want to turn that hi-hat down. We can just turn the hi-hat down, and we can pan it with this one. So if we want it over on the left-hand side, let's say we want the snare to be a bit louder. Okay, so we've got individual volume controls as well. Now you might notice that when you hit down here, it makes, obviously the sound comes out of that, which in a live situation might not be very good. If you're playing live and all of a sudden your kick drum is ridiculously loud, you don't want to, where's my kick drum there? You don't want to hear that again. So to select it without hearing it, you just hold down shift. Okay, so you can select it and then that will mute the sound. So again, we can add new sounds I'm not sure if I've mentioned previously or not, but we can add new sounds from the SD card, which can be put into the kit. Yeah, and rows within the kit as well. We can also output MIDI or gate information again, which we'll cover when I do all the MIDI gatey stuff in a later video. Okay, so already this has been a little bit longer than I was hoping it was going to be, but I'm going to try and keep these as short as I can. So thanks for watching. Usual things, please like, subscribe, share the videos around. If you've got any questions, then obviously leave them in the comments box below, and I'll see you in the next part. Thanks for watching.